Yeah, I hope you can hear me now. You can see me clearly. Hello, I hope you can see me now. You can hear me clearly. I hope you can see me now. Okay. I'll meet. Okay, I'll meet them there. Báwo ni màá sọ fún technical man báyìí? Well, I can't see your picture again. No.
Okay. Moving going.
I can't see your picture again.
Look, can you see?
Okay, I can hear you now. You can cut. I can see.
You
can
see
you. Are you okay?
Okay, all right.
I haven't seen it now. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Hello, Dr. Maki, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Login.
So I think that's it now, isn't it?
Because
Yes, we are set.
Sorry.
Guys, Allah koma filin ba. Koma filin ba.
Dr. Yamaki, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Are we set now?
We are set. We are good to go.
Mrs. Swali Rojo, hope you can hear me. But we can't hear you.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I think the sign of the dot. Mr. AJ, are you there with us? Mr. AJ. Mr. AJ. Mr. AJ. I think the dot now. So,
good morning, everybody. You are welcome to the Real Statistical Society Nigeria Local Group webinar presentation on economic implications of COVID-19 in the Ecowas region, the opportunities and the challenges. I would love to welcome everyone that logged in right now. Professor, Dr. Mr. and Mrs. Ali Usman, Elizabeth Olawumi, Ibrahim Umar, Jubril Abu, Lanrewaju Olumide, Nasir Isa Muhammad, Oladapo Oladoja, Oladuni Kabir, Olani Olaiwola, Oluwafemi Oyamake. That's a technical man. We appreciate it. Thank you, sir. We have Samuel Ugochukwu. We have Yusuf, Zainab Salau, Tijani Abubakar, Adedigbe, and many people are still joining. Sherifas Fondoronsho. So I want to welcome everybody. Pardon me if I've not mentioned the name. As you are logging in, the thing is arranged alphabetically. So I would like to welcome you. And whatever I pray we have each free webinar presentation this morning. Our speakers too, I'm sure they've already joined us, and if not, they will join us in a moment. So I want to welcome us and appreciate us as for doing the sacrifice. As we cannot meet the physical, we are using our money to do this meeting, and I pray God will provide for every one of us in Jesus' name. COVID-19, yes, we bless God for the period, the lockdown. We are now open, and I pray everything will be easy for us in Jesus' name for good. Nigeria will be better. So we have just like 2 minutes before the chairman will give us the opening remark, then to start the program proper. So for that just 2 minutes, let's still wait for those that will log in and those that are trying to log in. Thank you.
Yeah, this opportunity to our guests now. Dr. Sir, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you here.
God bless you, sir. Dr. Ali, Dr. Ali, are you with us? Dr. Ali.
I'm with you.
Oh, Dr. Ali,
yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you.
Thank you. So, please wait for a minute. Thank you.
Please, those who use different devices should reduce the volume of the other device. Those who are with 2 devices should just reduce.
So right now, I welcome the RSS chair in person of Dr. Olaiwola Matthew for his opening remark.
Thank you, Mr. Somebody already. Let me first of all, the speakers, Dr. Olaiwola from Ecowas Convention Abuja, and also Dr. Abiy from Ghana.
I'm with you.
I welcome everybody to this webinar organized by Royal Services Nigeria Local. It is a non-profit society. Our mandate is to promote traditional knowledge and the use of it in Nigeria. And we have been contributing significantly to the capacity building in Nigeria. And we have members across the country. We organize conferences, we organize workshops, and to serve as our contributions to our India free. So today is the webinar. Because of the inability to make physically, we are having this webinar. So we welcome everybody to this webinar, and I pray that we'll have a successful registration. Thank you. I am welcome.
Thank you, the RSS chair, Nigeria Local Group. I think I'm continuing. Okay. Right now, since our speakers are ready, it's time for the citation of Dr. Umi Olaiwola. Okay, while our technical man is going to display the citation, let me continue with it. Dr. Umi Olaiwola holds a PhD degree in economics with specialization in international trade, development economics, and macroeconomic analysis. Is a trade economics and principal program officer in the Department of Macroeconomic Policy and Economic Research of Ecowas Commission, Abuja. He has worked extensively in the area of macroeconomic policy, international trade, and economic integration issues. Is the faculty member of Trade Policy Training Centers in Africa, CHAPA, Arusha, Tanzania, and a senior lecturer in Department of Economics and Development Studies of the Covenant University, Nigeria. He was a senior research fellow of Development Policy Center in Ibadan, Nigeria. He also has vast experience in consultancy. He developed a lot of training modules and research material and facilitated training programs for the World Bank Group, Washington, D.C., USA. He is also a research fellow to the African Economic Research Consortium, AERC, Nairobi, Kenya. He had also participated in various trainings and capacity building in various countries. He was a visiting scholar at the World Bank, Washington, D.C., USA in 2004. He has also contributed numerously on trade, poverty, and economic policies to learned publication. He is a consultant to the United Nations Development Program, GIZ, USAID, World Bank Group, and UNECA. So right now, I would like to welcome Dr. Mumi Olayiwola for his presentation. You are welcome, sir. God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much. And let me welcome everybody. And let me say a big thank you to Royal Statistical Society for extending this kind of invitation to me. I can't take it not as a right, but just as a privilege. Associated with you is a plus. And let me say thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I'm here to just share some of my experience with you and maybe to challenge your society, especially in this critical period we are all over the world. In order to be able, maybe I want to give you a lot of responsibility as a society so that you can be able to contribute to a lot of discussion, especially with this pandemic that is affecting nearly everybody. So the topic before me, let me try and share my screen. I don't know whether the host can enable me to do that, or if you want, because I've already sent it before, if they want to share it with others. But the topic before us is economic implication of COVID-19 in Ecowas region, opportunity and challenges. I will talk about Ecowas as a general term, but I will focus particularly on Nigeria. I believe I have a limited time, but I will try and see if I can be able to communicate my thoughts to you, given the limited time that I have. As we all know, in 2019, we were confronted with the news of this COVID-19 at the global level. It came as a shock because nobody really planned for it. And what we can see as the aftermath is the kind of decisions that follow. And some of those decisions as those that affect the lives and the way that we are doing things. And another thing that we can be able to see is that the reactions differ across different countries. Though there are some areas of similarities, but we still see some kind of reaction that are quite different. But I will later show you why this pandemic has a lot of negative impact in one country than the other. But I will not go too far. I will situate the situation within the environment that we have. That means in Ecowas region. But what I can be able to tell you is that there are some fundamental economic challenges that will make this pandemic to have a lot of negative impact on the economy. And all this is what I will try as much as possible to explain later on. As we all know, I believe there are opportunities in negativities. Sometimes when we are confronted with the challenges, we need to really find out what are those opportunities that we can be able to derive from that. And to start with, when we are looking at COVID-19, with respect to how it impacts on the economy, how it's going to have any kind of economic implication, we have to look at it from both what I call direct impact and what I call indirect impact. Direct impact are really as it affects mobility and mortality. When you have a pandemic like COVID-19, many people will get sick, many people will die. It's not in terms of numbers, but we should know that a single person that died, we have a brother, we have a sister, we have a wife, we have a husband. Definitely is going to be able to affect a lot of people. And in terms of indirect impact is the fact that immediately as a COVID-19, many economic activities will be affected at the global level. As we all know, no country is an island. We depend on each other. Definitely there's going to be some kind of impact on the economy. I presented one small analytical framework here in my slide 3. You'll be able to see that in that slide 3, you'll be able to see that when you have COVID-19, if you see that slide 3, if you see a COVID-19, definitely immediately you have a case, it will send some kind of panic. And don't forget that it's happening in your country, it's happening in other countries too. So that you are going to have a global health crisis in other countries. So also you are going to have in your own countries too. And immediately you begin to have some kind of containment or mitigation measures. Definitely, it will affect your economy domestically. And also, as it affects other countries, as you are trading with them, definitely it's going to cause some kind of what we call international trade limitation. Because you export your goods to their country and you import from their own country too. Unfortunately, if they limit the amount of goods they are buying from you, definitely it's going to affect your economy. And if you too cannot be able to get what you are importing from those countries, it's going to affect your economy. And when you see the cumulative effect of all those things, it's going to lead to what we call socio-economic crisis. And I know if you can be able to look at how it happened across the globe, this is kind of what I can call a good analytical framework in terms of direct and indirect impact of COVID-19. But we need to now ask ourselves one thing. I'm just talking generally now. Let me come back to Ecowas level. I want to make this discussion to be in 4 forms. One, I want to provide some kind of evidence of the incidence of COVID-19 in the region. And I will try as much as possible to tell you why the impact. What are the inherent challenges that make COVID-19 to have a lot of impact, especially in Ecowas, but I will situate the situation within Nigeria alone. And I will now let us know the kind of opportunity that we can be able to get from that kind of pandemic, and then I will conclude. Let me start by this. You will see that Ecowas region has a fair share in terms of COVID-19 incidents. You will see that Ecowas is next to SADC. SADC are those countries from South Africa and so on and so forth. You will see SADC and Ecowas, they have equal shares of 26% and 25%. So when we are talking about incidents of COVID-19, you see that we feel a lot of impact in Ecowas region. And next to Ecowas region is SADC region. That's the first one. The second one I want you to know is that as a result of the pandemic, we see some kind of drastic reduction in economic growth rate of our countries. And I want to make particular case of those countries in red, because I may not be able to explain all. But if you take a Cape Verde, you will see from the initial growth rate of 55%, you will see the projected, the revised one now is minus 4.04. Let me tell you the reason why it's like that. If you look at the country we call Cape Verde, it depends a lot of tourism. And with COVID-19, who want to travel? So because the economy depends mainly on the issue of tourism, we see that definitely the economic growth is going to reduce drastically. That we can be able to see negative growth of 4%. If you take a country like Guinea-Bissau, you will see it's a country that just, let me say, come out of political crisis. I think that country is synonymous with crisis. And definitely when a country is in crisis and you now compound it with another crisis, definitely you see that the growth rate need to reduce from 5.6% to minus 1.9%. Let me, if you look at country like Nigeria, you'll be able to see that Nigeria case is so peculiar because the growth rate need to reduce from 2.5% to minus 3.5%. I will explain this one to you better, but the only thing I can tell you that Nigeria is a country that is a monocultural and depends solely on some commodity for survival, which is oil. And you know that anything affects that, definitely is going to affect the economy. And another country worthy to note is Sierra Leone. As you know, Sierra Leone, they are just out of Ebola crisis, and they now have another problem of COVID-19. That we can see the negative growth of the economy. In overall Ecowas region, you will see that the projected economic growth rate reduced from 3.5% to minus 2%. And this is not a very good case to celebrate, as we all know. Apart from the economic growth, let us look at the sectoral growth. You'll be able to see that, let's take a particular case of Nigeria. Nigeria has a total reduction in both the primary, secondary, and tertiary economy. And you can be able to see when you have the negative growth in those ones, definitely the economic growth rate is going to be fall drastically as a result of the pandemic. And when we look at the employment, you see the employment in the tourism sector, you see gradual, in fact, drastic reduction when you compare 2019 and 2020. We see because a lot of people cannot be able to travel, and you know, tourism depends on traveling here and there. That's what really caused a lot of effort, especially to the employment stock. We see downfall in economic growth, downfall in terms of sectoral production, downfall in terms of employment, and all of us can easily predict what is going to be the likely impact. Now, another area that we really need to look hard is in the area of containment and mitigation measures. As a result of the pandemic, you'll be able to see a lot of countries need to embark on what we call the fiscal measures and non-fiscal measures. The fiscal measures are those ones that affect the budget. Many countries need to cut down their expenditure gradually, and some we can call non-fiscal measures is as a response to what is happening at the global level. And you can be able to aware many countries close down the airport, some close down the airport, some do not allow people to travel here and there. There are some lockdown, partial lockdown, many things like that. And when you have this kind of thing, definitely is going to cause a lot of problems. And the problem that this one will cause is what we call double jeopardy. Let me quickly show you the double jeopardy. The double jeopardy we can see, as you can see, take for example, a country like Nigeria. Nigeria, given our calculation, Nigeria, because of the pandemic, lost $28.8 billion in this country in this year alone. And as the country is losing revenue, the country will still need $31 billion as a mitigation and containment measures. That means in terms of revenue, you are losing money. Now, you still need more expenditure for you to be able to take economy out of that kind of disequilibrium. Definitely, you can see the double jeopardy. And when you are not making money and you want to spend more, definitely you know the impact. The country needs to go and begin to borrow. But not only in Nigeria, as if you can look at that table, you see nearly all Ecowas member states lost revenue, and also there's increase in their budgetary need in order to take care of the devastating impacts of COVID-19. The question you need to ask again, what's the impact of all this one, especially on the human resources? One thing you need to know, when people are sick, they can't be able to go to work. And if those ones that are not sick, they are restricted from going to work, so that in order to serve as a prevention and mitigation measures, definitely there will be lost work potentials. And this one will have the negative impact on the economy, not only in the informal sector and agriculture, also in formal sector. Because definitely business needs to close and so on and so forth. And when you need this, when the economy is not booming, people are not working, how will government be able to generate revenue? And also, because of the COVID-19, government expenditure need to increase. So at least you can be able to see a lot of what I can call a lot of challenges associated with COVID-19. The question we need to ask ourselves that why the problem? That's why I want now to focus mainly on Nigeria. Let me tell you something. There are many underlying challenges that will make Nigeria to really feel impact of COVID-19. And I will discuss this one from 4 major perspectives. I will let you know about the issue of diversity in economic opportunities, lack of adequate social infrastructure, low economic diversification, and inadequate database for meaningful planning. And that is why I think your society is coming into focus here. Let me take those things one by one. Let me show you one thing. Let me take you about the challenge 1. Please, if you can be able to see that figure on the screen, you will see that, let's look at ultra poor in Nigeria. There are 112 million people. And next to that one is what I call the survivors. We have 65 million. If you combine the two of them, you will see that you are having like 177 million people out of 200 million population. And you will see at the other hand, or those ones that you can see, they are called millionaire, you can see that 2 million. But there's something I want you to see. Let us look at the characteristics of the first 2 groups and the last group, the ultra poor and the survivors. Those people, one, they need to work on daily basis to eat. No social safety net for them. If they don't work, they don't eat. They don't have access to basic infrastructures. They are those ones that they live in a very high house density, where 10 or 20 of them can be in the same room. Then they don't have enough savings, so that even if you ask them to stay at home, where are they going to get money to eat? So you see, when you have a limited opportunity like that, definitely COVID-19 is going to have a lot of impact on those kind of people. But when you take the last group of people, those are what I call the millionaires. Those are those ones that they can seek medical care abroad. They have enough money, they have big house, they are only one in the house. Unfortunately, the airport gets closed. They cannot travel again. Definitely, they need to compete with those little resources that we have within the economy. So when you have limited opportunities, that economic opportunity for people, when you have a pandemic like COVID-19, there's no respect of anybody, definitely is going to have a lot of impact across. Now, let me tell you another problem with this. Is the problem that if government want to contain the pandemic and ask people to sit down at home, that means government must be ready to provide for those people in the first 2 groups. And if government refuse to provide for those people, they will either take a decision whether to go out and contact COVID-19 or stay inside and die of hunger, which I think is a pathetic situation. Another opportunity again is that if people in category 3 and 4 are ready to take care of those people in category 1 and 2, many of them will be receiving a lot of a bank account, because those people, they must survive. And if they don't want a situation that will break down of law and order, in order for them to enjoy their money, definitely they find a way to take care of that. That's the first major challenge that will make COVID-19 to have drastic and adverse impact on people, especially in a country there's a huge inequality in terms of economic opportunity. Let us look at the second one. The second one is health infrastructure in Nigeria. If you see, for 10,000 individuals, we have only 9 hospital beds. We have 7 ICU beds by 10 residents in Nigeria. We have only 3,500 bed spaces for COVID-19. Doctor to population ratio is 389 doctors to 1 million population. At least with this, I don't even need to say anything. You know the situation. You know the situation that this is highly inadequate. And this limited one that these people have with this COVID-19, and those who are rich that can travel abroad, they cannot be able to go again. You can be able to see. They have to compete with this minimum one that they have. And when you have this kind of thing, definitely those 5,000 privileged patients that always go for medical tourism, they will not be able to win. And then you know the highest bidder will not be the one. So they will be the one that they will be taking the limited one. And all of us, at least we are living witness to what happened with this COVID-19. That is the second challenge. The third challenge is low economic diversification. If you look at that graph, you will see top export destination of Nigeria. If you look at those countries, see Spain, Netherlands, China, India, those are those countries that has what eat with COVID-19. So when they are trying to be cross border and they are trying to struggle for survival, when are they going to buy your product? So you'll be able to see that those countries that buy a lot of things from Nigeria, they are the ones that now have a lot of problems with respect to COVID-19. That one will limit their power and their capacity in order to buy a lot of products from Nigeria. And definitely, that's what's going to cause a lot of problems. Let's look at it from the import side, the exported items. If you look at those exported items, you will see that oil and natural gas is closely to 85%. And when you have one commodity as your major export product, if anything will happen to that product, definitely your economy can suffer. And that's why you will see in the second slide, you will see the way in that blue color, how the price of oil fell from around $60-something in 2019 to nearly $20 because of the COVID-19. And when your 85% of your export price, your export commodity, the price fell more than 300%, definitely you know there's going to be a lot of fiscal pressure. Definitely revenue will fall, and I think you can see the reason why we have to have a lot of lost revenue from the other graph that I'll show you initially. Let me show you another one. Another one you will see is that where Nigeria are getting their import. You will see that it's from China, that's 1%, United States 10%, India 8%. If you combine those three countries, those are those countries that were worst hit by COVID-19. In fact, COVID-19 originated from China. And you can be able to see, meaning there's a closure of borders and so on and so on in the country. Definitely many imported items in the country really fell, and the country needs to feel the impact. And all of you can see the way there's a jump in the price of commodity that we need to depend on for survival. So those are those basic challenges that will make COVID-19 to have a lot of impact on the economy. Let me now by this, I want you to know something, that there are always opportunities in every challenge. I see COVID-19 as one important challenge that have universal impact. It's like God, it's not respect of anybody. Whether rich, poor, low, women, men, everybody is susceptible to that pandemic. And you can be able to see that. It affects all the age and social structure in the Nigerian population. I see that one as opportunity. Why is it an opportunity? In the sense that it's the right time now for our government to come back to basics. I understand. By developing our country, we are developing ourselves. By providing social amenities, is by helping ourselves. We don't know what is coming after COVID-19, where people will not be able to go. Every of us need to stay here and we'll find a way to see how can we be able to address all those fundamental challenges within the economy. Our available sector resources, they are overstretched because I don't know the reason why. Maybe because they are thinking that, no, I'm not a beneficiary of all those infrastructure. Anytime I have sickness or headache, I go to India, I go to China. When the border is closed, and all of us need to now depend, I think it's a wake-up call on the part of our government to be able to do that. Secondly, is we need to see the opportunities in COVID-19. It has shown us that our educational system need to have some kind of transformation, especially in the use of ICT. And all of us can be able to see that with this pandemic, majority of our schools, majority of them cannot even have any online thing because there's no facilities. And I think this is another opportunity we need to know that it's now the right time for us to invest in what I call knowledge economy. And when you want to invest in knowledge economy, we need to make sure we guarantee digital access to young people, especially to have what we can call inclusion. And we see this as a basis of productivity. This what we call what I can call demographic dividends. Except we invest a lot, we will not be able to tap the advantage. And I think it's an opportunity that I want us as a government to really work on, so that we can be able to make a better use of our available resources that we have within the economy. Let me tell you about the second one. The second one is that COVID-19 has shown us now that we need a concerted effort among all stakeholders, especially information sharing and communication. And that means listen, where I'm coming to the real society or statistical society now is an area that I believe is very, very important. It's the information that is available you are going to share. It's the information that's available you are going to communicate. Definitely, we need to really work on our statistics and our information, especially on those intervention measures, so that it will really help us to be able to design a good mitigation measures. Because all those mitigation need to be nudged and they need to be guided so that we can be able to have a coordinated effort at various levels of our government. And I can tell you, when you don't have realistic statistics and data, how will you be able to know what the federal government is doing? What do you know what the state government is doing? What do you know what the private sector is doing? And so on and so forth. These are those kind of opportunities that I want us to really build on, to see that if we do it together, it will be better than to do it individually. What are the requirements? The first one I want us to know is that by now, our government needs to know they need to devote a lot of budgetary allocation to social services. And I want to suggest nothing less than 30% of annual budget to health and education services. COVID-19 has shown us now that it's better for us to build health and education infrastructure. It's for the good of the country. Because when you don't have opportunity of going out, definitely you need to rely on what you have within for you to be able to overcome any kind of challenges. And not only about allocation, the next one is about the effective use of those resources. And it's very, very important. There's a need for government to provide what I can call targeted social safety net. And all of us can be able to see what happened with respect of the NSAS protests. That really shows that many people get fed up because they don't even see any kind of, they can take any solace in any kind of government facilities or the humanitarian goods, everything we have. How many can we have to be able to support the vulnerable population, the vulnerable institutions, and so on and so forth. Another one I want to talk about is about the issue of e-learning and e-vocational training. Whether we like it or not, it's better for us to invest a lot. All our universities, all our training centers, it's better for us to be able to do that. Imagine if we don't know how to use Zoom now, can we be able to communicate? But that's one of those things that we by now supposed to be in our curriculum in all the universities. How to use ICT to train, how to use ICT to teach, how to invest, the kind of thing that we need to do. That is a very, very good thing that I want us to see is an opportunity in this COVID-19 that we need to bid on. Another one that's important is the kind of support our youth, especially in skill acquisition, entrepreneurship. Those are those areas that we really need to work on. Whether we like it or not, definitely we have to engage on one life regional value chain and supply chain. Because if you cannot buy from China, you must be able to buy from your neighbor. But that's if we allow to develop what we can call regional value and supply chain. And we must make sure our youth, they have enough knowledge to be able to engage in youth participation in regional value and supply chain. But what I want you to know is that all these opportunities I'm talking about, the planning and the implementation depend on reliable database and information on social statistics. And that's where I want to create the indulgence of Royal Statistical Society, especially in Nigeria, that you need to work in collaboration with government to develop this. When we have COVID-19, government will not be able to know information, you cannot be able to determine the information on those families that are vulnerable. Since we don't even know them, we don't even have the statistics. We have the statistics of number of agents, number of people, where people are living, and so on and so forth. And those are those kind of things that we really need to, because if we fail to plan, we plan to fail. And we don't have data and statistics, there's no way we can be able to have adequate planning. Those are those kind of opportunities that I want us to see in challenges with respect to COVID-19. Let me conclude by saying, without reliable and useful statistics, planning for intervention program will be adequately difficult. We can be able to see the result in terms of the miscarriage and social unrest. We can be able to see that. And we will be able to know that because we don't have adequate planning, we are not even, it came as a shock. And for many months, it's as if we don't even know what to do. But what I want us to know is that let us see the challenges and the opportunities of COVID-19 for need for us to develop what I call beneficial cooperation and partnership of all stakeholders. In with the RSS, you are one of them. Because whether you like it or not, we need information, we need the statistics, we need a reliable database for us to be able to develop an economy that we have a shared prosperity and inclusive growth. Thank you for the opportunity you give me to share this thought with you. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate you and we enjoyed the presentation. It's really, really good for us to know this time around. And I hope the government will do the needful. So the second speaker now, we would like to welcome him, but before that, we would like his citation to be read, and that will be done by Mrs. Olawumi. So, Mr. Olawumi, over to you.
Hello, we hope you are with us.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me?
We can hear you.
Good morning. Okay, good morning, everyone. Yeah, so here is the citation for our second speaker, Dr. Aliyu Usman. Dr. Aliyu Usman is currently a chief lecturer and the dean, College of Science and Technology, Kaduna Polytechnic, Nigeria. He was a former head Department of Mathematics and Statistics in the same institution. Dr. Aliyu attended Kaduna Polytechnic, University of Ibadan, and University of Ilorin, where he obtained his PhD statistics in 2013. He is vast in both theoretical and applied statistics, biostatistics and data analytics. His research teachings and statistical papers in multivariate analysis, regression analysis, linear models, biostatistics, sample survey design, practical statistics, and his vast use of statistical software packages span more than 20 years. Dr. Aliyu authored and co-authored more than 50 papers and articles, as well as 5 standard textbooks. Prominent among them are Statistical Methods for Biometric and Medical Research, which is the first and second edition, Bivariate and Multivariate Statistical Analysis, also first and second edition. He is a fellow of the Royal Statistical Society, London. He is also a member of the Nigerian Statistical Association, MNSA. Dr. Aliyu is also a member of Professional Statistician Society of Nigeria, MPSSN, and a member Mathematical Association of Nigeria, MMAN. So we welcome you, Dr. Aliyu Usman, for your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. First, before I start, I have to appreciate the presentation of Professor Olayiwola. He has spoken a lot, and this will now pave way to give the importance of my second presentation, which is just the nitty-gritty of data analysis using the SPSS. He has spoken a lot on reliable data to planning. And of course, as statisticians, when we get data, we need to do some analysis to be able to make meaning out of the data. So permit me to share my screen so that I will make the presentation straight from the screen. Or you share it from there?
Yes, sir. Share it.
Okay. As a matter of fact, before the screen, the presentation will only last for about 25 minutes or so. However, the material is still with the organizer so that people can still make a lot of, can benefit from the material after the webinar can be shared to participants to make use. It's just a rudimentary introduction to data analysis using the SPSS. As an aspect of, since the opportunities and challenges of COVID-19 in the West African sub-region will depend on reliable data, we feel that there's also the need for participants to have a little understanding of data analysis. And Professor Layola also spoke on the ICT, use of ICT and other things in teaching and learning. That's also an aspect of the necessity to learn data analysis very well. So can you share my screens from, is it ready? Thank you very much. So it's on StatsCAD data analysis using the SPSS just to build our capacity. Let me start from the second slide. Next slide. Yeah, Professor Olayola has spoken a lot on he has given us all we needed to understand about the pandemic and the opportunities and the challenges also. Now, statistics and statisticians, we have a lot to do in terms of data analysis. Statistics as a science is just like a commodity or an item standing on a tripod stool. With 3 legs, it means all the 3 legs must be on ground before the stool can stand. One of the legs is mathematics, actually. We do a lot of mathematics, especially in our theoretical statistics. And the second leg is computing and data handling. That's why the RSS local group feel that this would also go with a little of a presentation on computing and data handling. That's where I'm going now to show a little on how to use the SPSS on using data analysis with the SPSS. And the third leg, knowledge of areas of application and interpretation of results. Professor Odayola has spoken a lot. He has interpreted a lot of data. He knows where areas of application, in particular the economy, the education, and throughout his paper. So I'm going on the second leg now. A statistician must have all the 3 legs before he can stand as a statistician. And then we feel that the second leg is what we can a little bit contribute to our colleagues here. So computing and data handling. I want to make a little introduction on the SPSS. Yes, and this is the format of my presentation. To have a little introduction, understand the basic skills required to learn the SPSS, how to create a database. Professor Laura has also spoken on lack of database. If we have the raw data, how do we create a database to put it in the software before analysis? And the menu, then little analysis like frequency tables, descriptive, correlation, regression, t-test, and one. There are so many, but because of limited time, I just peg it to this. The next slide. Let me start. Frank Yates once said, Frank Yates is a non-statistician, popularly known with the Yates correction for continuity and so many other work in statistics. To be a good statistician, one must also compute and must therefore have the best computing aids. One of the computing aids, we have a lot of software packages now as our computing aids. And then the best one in terms of simplicity, in terms of flexibility and others. So I want to introduce the SPSS for sure. It's one of these computing aids. It's the oldest, one of the oldest and most widely used. It's comprehensive and user-friendly as well. As you can see, next slide. User-friendly. The original meaning was a StatsCAD package for social sciences, but it's no longer the name, the acronym now. The name has changed so many. It's just a product name now, SPSS or IBM SPSS. By creating, before it was the DOS version, but by creating the window version, SPSS has done for data analysis what Henry Ford did for the automobile, made it available to the masses. It means with SPSS, a beginner from the scratch can learn, and the experienced and well-experienced user has a lot of flexibility to work with the SPSS. At times, some of the hidden applications of the SPSS we don't even know. But with now modern SPSS from version 20 up to the has a lot to do. From the presentation of Professor Olayola, I can see on his slide 3, the analytical framework. I was just seeing a moderation and mediation model there, which the SPSS can now handle. SPSS was bought by IBM in 2009, but just point and click the window version. You can also use the syntax. What most people don't know, you can keep aside the window version and use the syntax to also run analysis with the SPSS. The popularity of the SPSS stems from the following features of the program. The features, it allows SPSS allows for a great deal of flexibility in data format. You can format, transform, so many other things you can do. Also for storage and retrieval. It communicates with other formats also, from Excel, from Stata, even from R and Python. You can import and export the data to SPSS. It provides the user with comprehensive set of procedures for data transformation and file manipulation. This is one of the aspects that we don't even lay our hands on. We concentrate on the analysis, but it has a lot of flexibilities in transformation and model. It offers the researcher a large number of analysis. You can see from the analysis menu, you have a lot that you can do to analyze data, and very user-friendly that you can do. Next. And when you want to conduct analysis with the SPSS, of course, you have very limited knowledge on computer. Fundamental knowledge in statistics is important for an understanding of which procedure to use. Of course, if I say t-test now, a statistician will understand that where I'm going and comparing maybe two populations. It's analysis of variance, I'm comparing 3 or more populations. But say I want to calculate correlation, I want to understand the degree and direction of linear relationship between variables and so on and so forth. This knowledge of statistics is the background. Your knowledge of computer may be quite limited. It's only required to have access to a personal computer with SPSS, and then how to know to use the keyboard and the mouse. It's enough for you to be able to use the SPSS. Next slide. Now, you can create a database on the SPSS, where the database is like just where you archive and keep your data. It's a body of information held in a computer system using facilities. The SPSS has provision for only a flat table. You cannot have a relational database as people that will database. But the flat table can take a lot of variables and a lot number of cases too. Mostly, what we mean by a flat table is a matrix, just in the matrix form, row by column. But you know, in the advanced database and design, you can have a relational data because many tables can be linked together. So next slide. So now in the flat table, the rows are the cases. Like one where, let me make it with respect to the theme. One where want to compare the COVID-19 in many countries. Each country is now a case. Like Nigeria, all the data in Nigeria will be entered in one row, and then another country, maybe Sierra Leone, in another row, another country in another row, and the variables are now the columns. Maybe in the Nigerian data, number of incidents, number of deaths, number of discharges, number of admission, number of people. So are the variables. Now, on your computer, you can place the SPSS shortcut when you want to open the SPSS environment. You can click just like any other software. Once the SPSS open the SPSS program, the data editor, you have the data editor and the output viewer. The data editor is where you input your data and you run analysis from. The output viewer is another window entirely different, where when you run analysis, the output will be shown on the output viewer. So SPSS has 2 major windows. These are SPSS shortcut, where you can click and open. Next slide. Click, you Now, the data editor has the data editor is active window when you start your SPSS. So once you open it, to open just like Excel, you see row by columns.
Tí ò bá wá sí bí ńkọ́? Tí ò bá wá sí bí ńkọ́?
And then you can
Ẹ
mute
káàárọ̀.
all.
Tí ò bá wá sí bí ńkọ́?
Yes. So the data editor is where you enter your data. You declare the name of the data, the name of the data, the variables, data view where you enter and view your data for analysis. The data view, there are two variable view is where you declare your variable, and then the data view is where you make the enter. You want to name the variables like country, where you have Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Ghana, and so on and so forth. The screen for the this is the screen for the next slide. Yes, this is screen for the variable view. This is where you declare your variable, like the name. You type the name of the variable, country, where you put in, that variable contain the countries where you the type, is it numeric, alphabetic, or whatever, with where you want the size and the number of decimal places if you want, and the level and so on and so on. So after you enter the variable, after the variable view, you go to the data view where you make the entry. The variable view is for labeling, is for identification. You declare and make your variable, and then you enter the data in the data view, which is in the next screen. The variable view allows you to name each column in the data table and specify what sort of values the column will contain. Before you can type the data into data table, you must set up the variable so that once you are making the entry, you know which variable you are entering in which column. But that if you don't make, it will just show variable 1, variable 2, and it can even lead to confusion. But by the time you label them very well, when you go to the data view, it will show on the columns of the data view. Next slide. That's where you put the name, the type, the width, and decimal, and so on and so forth, as I mentioned earlier. Now there's a convention making the name. There should be no comma, any special character, and there should be no space. The name of the variable. Like if you want to put necessarily a very name that you need to separate, you have to use underscore, but there should be no space in making the name. Then the type, whether it's numeric, alphanumeric, and so on and so forth, and then the decimal places, the number of decimal places that you need to. Next. Then this is where you enter the data. All these variables you are seeing, variable, when you name them, you will not see them. You see like this variable 1 could be a country, variable 2, number of cases, variable 3. So by the time you, under the variable view, if you name them properly, they will show here. The names will show here. And then you start your data entry. The country, maybe Nigeria, variable 2 will be number of the population of the country, number of incidents, number of dates, number of, and so on and so forth. You can. Next. The data view contains table to a large number, just like it looks like Excel with grid lines. Many cells, rows, and columns. The table can be very large with only a small part that is shown. The screenshot I displayed here was just a portion of it. But it's a very large, like a worksheet. Normally, each row represents individual participant, and column are the variables. Next, what I displayed was an empty. Then we have the output view. When you have the data editor with the two views, when you declare a variable and make data entry, when you run an analysis or any transformation, the result will be shown in an output view. Just play. Next slide. This is the output view. The output will be shown under this output item. Then this output outline will show all the outputs you have in case for easy navigation. If you have a lot of outputs, you don't need to be scrolling down the output items. You just need to click on that particular, maybe a particular graph or chart, you click on it. So these are the two views of the SPSS. First, when you come, declare a variable, enter a variable, enter your data, save, then run analysis, and then the output viewer will show automatically and the analysis will be displayed there. Go ahead. Next. Now, it's good when you want to understand SPSS very well because of its simplicity and flexibility. It's good to understand the menu. On the menu, what's all the items on the menu. So let's have a quick tour of the menu. And next slide, the SPSS menu. It has file, edit, view, data, transform, analyze, direct marketing, graphs, utilities, add-ons. These are the menu. The file, when you want to open a file, I'm starting with the file. The edit, when you want to edit your data. View, when you want to view a particular item on the data. And then the data itself. Transform, when you want to transform. For example, when you want to transform a data from numeric to non-numeric, and so on. The transform has also a calculator when you want to even compute some variables. Analyze is the analysis menu, which is the heart of the SPSS, and the graphs also when you want to make graphs and charts. Next one. Then the edit. You can see if you click on the edit, you can have undo, redo, cut, copy, clear, insert variable. This is what is contained in the edit menu. So when you want to have your data and you want to make some edit, you want to even delete, insert one, maybe after you want to insert another variable, you can do it. And it's good to know that all these menu items, their shortcuts are also here in the ribbon and here. So next one. Next slide. And this is the data where you can define the variable properties, set measure level for unknown, copy data properties, define data type, and so on, and even validation. You can make some validation during data entry, which many people don't know. You can put a control that this one is yes 1, no 2. You cannot take any other variable other than 1 and 2. Maybe you want to give a large number of data entry to people to do for you. You can, this validation, you can put a control that no variable that is not within the range that can be put in there. So next slide. Then transform. This is also very important. The transform, you can compute variable. You can count value with cases, shift, record into some variable, record into different variable, automatic record, and visual binning. Visual binning is where when you want to, maybe when you have your data and you want to group them. If you want to group a set of data, it's called binning. You can group data like 1 to 5, 6 to 10. Very simple when you use the visual. So the transform has a lot of facilities that you can do. Like for example, you have number of cases, number of incidents, number of this, but you want to transform some of them. Like you have male and female. You may not need the total during the data entry, so that you avoid any error. When you come to transform, you can compute the total on your own. The compute is a very powerful calculator on the SPSS. Or maybe you code it, you want to do binary regression. You code it yes 1 and no 2. But the binary logistic regression will need it as 1 and 0. So you can record it into some variable. It will change from 1 and 2 to 1 and 0, and you run your analysis. It's very straightforward. Next is the analyze menu. Next slide. The analyze menu is the heart of the SPSS. It has a lot of things. can write report. This report, you can make very beautiful tables. Maybe you don't want to do any analysis, but the data you want to display them on tables. Under this report, you have flexibility, just like pivot table in Excel. And then you have descriptive statistics. That's the summary statistics with some measures of central tendencies, measures of dispersion, skewness, and curtosis, and so many smaller descriptive statistics. You also have the custom table, compare means. Maybe if it's two means, you have the t-test more than two. You have general linear models and the general linear model. The general linear model contains all the family of linear and intrinsically linear non-linear model. The general linear model contains under the SPSS the general linear model itself, the ANOVA models, and the logistics binary, all the binary response model families too. So you have a mixed model and so many other. So this is where the analysis, and this is where we statisticians do a lot of work to be able to do. But you know, there's no amount of analysis that will bring a data to life. So make sure that your data is of quality, as the prof has said, and make sure that you make the data entry into the SPSS data editor correctly, so that you are sure that if you do that, the analysis you are going to run very good analysis from the quality data. Next. Then you have the graph menu also. You have the chart builder and legacy dialog. There are two different ways of making the graph, but eventually you get the same graph. The chart builder is simpler because you can drag the type of chart you want. You can drag from the variables, the row level, the column level, and you OK it. Automatically it will show you your graph. And permit me to say here that the SPSS graphs and charts, you can beautify them, make them 3D, change their colors, change their background. There was one, if you put, we do a lot of work on the SPSS graph, nobody will know it's from SPSS because there are a lot of facilities that you can modify the graphs. So next slide. The utilities. The utilities has a lot of uses, like define variable sets, data file comments. It's most facilities when you have to write in the report. And you can also the variables. Under the utilities, you can view the variables. And these utilities has a lot of advantage when you are inputting or you are importing from a relational database. You know, a relational database has many tables linked together. So this one, utilities will help you to be able to have flat tables, but you are with their relationship where you have models. Then the next one is the add-on. The add-on is the SPSS has some add-ons like the EMOS, advanced moment structure. You can have some add-ons on the SPSS. It's not in the main SPSS, but if you need some additional analysis or additional work, and then you can install the add-ons, just like you have in Excel. You can have the Excel add-ons. So there are SPSS add-ons, like all these advanced moment structure that can do mediation and moderation analysis emojis. Though the newer version of SPSS have them inbuilt, but not as much as what the EMOS can do. So add-on is where you can add another one. Then the window is where you can switch from the different windows, the data editor or the output viewer, or you open many windows and you are working with them at the same time. So you can open that. So you can see that if you stay, even if you know SPSS, try to follow these rudiments and study SPSS in this. Start toward the menu and know all the uses. Next slide. It will help you to understand and you to work with it faster. So these are add-ons. Next slide. And it also has the programmability extension. You can write a program. I know with the SPSS, not many people know the analysis that are not on SPSS. You can write a syntax. I know there was a time that there was no canonical correlation on the SPSS window at all. You can write a syntax using the maneuver and run, and to give you the canonical correlations analysis. The window here, you can switch between windows, you can split and see two windows at the same time, and so on and so forth. So next. and the help. There's topics, a complete book. There's tutorial, case study, and how to work with R as an SPSS user. Many people don't even take time to read. The tutorial now is even in PDF in the later versions. You can take the tutorial anytime you want to do particular analysis. You can go through it. Statistics coach, even the formula in the coach, even the formula that was used for the computation is explained. From all the formulae are fully explained. Somebody did a Spearman's rank correlation and say it's not the same thing with the SPSS. What actually happened is that SPSS, after computing the rank correlation, all the ties are adjusted for. Maybe you just ran the analysis line. So when you open the statistics coach, you see all what formula and how the formula were used to run the analysis. It adds to your knowledge also. There's SPSS community. It's also even on the Facebook where you can ask questions, you can make your problem. Many experts will discuss. And the command syntax reference is also a PDF book now. If you want to learn through the syntax, and I urge people to also start learning the SPSS syntax. Do you know why? It will help you to go to learn R and even theta easier. If you know the SPSS syntax, a lot of similarities are there because the SPSS, you can make learning of ASCII software from known to unknown. The SPSS is simple, flexible, and straightforward. If you learn the SPSS from the window, now try going to the syntax. From the syntax, you can now dwell into theta a little bit. From theta, you can now see how similarity you can go into R and even Python. And that is how you can build this knowledge in the pyramid, in an inverted pyramid form to be able to work. Next slide. Now, this is the toolbar, all the menus, some of the frequently used items on the menu were collected in these 20 items in this toolbar. Like all this first one, the folder, is just like to want to open a file. This one to save, this one to print, and so many other. These to insert variable and insert case. This to find a variable, split file, wait case. They are all somewhere under the menus, but because these ones are commonly used, then they are on the ribbon of the toolbar. So you can just click and see what you want to do quickly. And insert variable, split file, wait cases, and so on and so forth. Next. And the explanations somehow are, yes, click, open, save current file, print, go to a particular case, and so on and so forth. They are explained here. And quickly you can run it. Number 10, you can run a descriptive statistics without going through the analysis, because they know it's the commonly used analysis, especially for the beginners. You find a particular case and so on and so forth. Next. Now, if you want to do some, SPSS used to come with files for training for the users. Among them, I selected 3 files. The CARS is a file, SPSS file, coronary artery data, and the new drug data. These are 3 files. They are also in the SPSS every SPSS version is there. You can open from the help when you get the data. Then when you click on the coronary artery, I want to just, next slide, I want to open the coronary artery data and demonstrate. You click on the coronary artery data. Next slide. So this is the data. It has 2 variables, but for purpose of space, I don't know the exact number of cases. So these are 2 variables here. Time is a variable, group is a variable. Number 1 is a case. This is maybe 1 person. Number 1 is the data from 1 person. Number 2 is the data from another person. Number 3 is data from another. So that's what I mean by case and variable. Case 1, suppose it's Ali Usman. The time maybe it took me
Hello, Dr. Aliyu. Are you with us?
I believe it's with us. I believe maybe it's network.
Maybe it's network.
From the side. Please, let's just hold on for him.
And in the meantime, we will encourage everyone who has questions to please put them up in the chat, send them as text message so we can read them up to our panelists when they come up online and they can answer those questions.
Sorry for the break in time.
You're welcome, sir.
Transmission. Maybe it was. I'm back.
Welcome, sir. You can continue, sir.
Okay. So yes, can we have shared my
What do you want to share, sir?
Where it stopped.
Oh, this is where it stopped.
Okay.
Dr. Aliyu, do you intend to share your screen?
You want to share your next on your slide? You think someone is not sharing? Dr. Oyamake.
Yes, sir.
Is that what you share his remaining slides?
He's on the screen.
Okay.
Please, those with multiple devices should please switch off one. Please, the feedback is too much. Those with multiple devices, please, you can lower the speaker of the other one so as to be able to maintain the feedback.
Yes, I'm sorry for the break in transmission. So you can quickly go through the other slides as the case may be. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Go. So there are data entry with the SPSS. There are basically 5 steps because data quality as statisticians is our watchword. So maybe you have questionnaire or any schedule you want to enter. You have to number the questionnaire, schedules, or forms serially for identification. It means if you have 100 forms, the form you make number 1, you should make a case number 1 on your SPSS. So even if you have 1 million, 10 million forms, if you pick form number, say 20, is the same case number 20 on your SPSS. Don't just allow for data entry, give people without identification. Even if you are sharing to many data entrants, make sure that all forms, each form that's entered on the row, on the SPSS, maybe you split the file and you want to match data, is fully identified. The form number should be entered as a case number there on the form so that they have identification. They should prepare a code book using a blank questionnaire. Maybe you use numeric coding: 1 Nigeria, 2 Sierra Leone. So make sure that the data entry are cognizant with the code book that this is 1, 2, 3, and then enter the data into the data view in SPSS mostly by row. It's not encouraged to do by column because you may end up transferring one variable of another person, of another case to another person. So you enter row wise. That's the wise way to enter. If you carry one questionnaire, it's one case, you enter it from beginning, or first variable to the last variable, and enter. And then check after. The checking is part of the data quality assessment framework that you need to do to ensure that the data is of quality. Because once you want analysis, it will be as a result of the quality of the data you have entered. Next slide. So this is just a guide to make sure that you do the correcting during the data entry with the SPSS. Next. 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 So that's what you do. So after the data entry is to run some analysis. I want to start with the car data. It's a file that's already there. You can see there are many variables: MPG, miles per gallon, engine, horsepower, weight. You can see all the names here. There's no space, no special character there. You cannot make it. So you want to analyze this data that's already contained in the SPSS file. So you want to do some analysis. First, you have to open the data. Once you open the data, it will show you the data view there. Unless if you want to edit the variable name and the others. So next one, you open the data. These are just limited to 5 cases because of space. 5 cases, but there are many cases down. I don't know exactly the number of cases. There are many variables after origin, this country of origin, America. So I want to do some descriptive statistics: percentages, mean, median, mode, skewness, cortices, dispatch, and so on and so forth. Now, once you open and you click analyze, it will open the drop-down box. You click on descriptive statistics. It will put all the variables here. You see this one. I want to run descriptive on country of origin. This is country of origin. If you click it, it will come to this variable dialog here. If I click this one, it will come here. Then here, OK will not be active until you enter at least one variable here. And then these are options. If I click country of origin, it will come here. Then I can click if I want a chart or I want statistics. The statistics will contain all the descriptors I want to do, or percentages or whatever. So next slide. So now I've clicked here to come to the variable view. Next one. So you see the COVID-19 data that we have been collecting on a daily basis from NCDC. We can also try to form a database SPSS with it. We can run some descriptive analysis with them, summary, averages, percentages, and all. So when the country of origin comes here, I click on the charts. I want a bar chart. Default is here. This is 1, country of origin. 2, I click charts, and then 3, I select bar chart from this radio button. With this radio button means you cannot select more than one chart here. Unless if you want to do bar chart and do pie chart again, you have to go back and do bar chart and go back and do pie chart again. Because the radio button means once you click pie chart, now the bar chart will deselect automatically. Then I will click continue and then come back here to click OK. So it will give me the descriptive statistics on country of origin. That is a summary of the countries of the data. Like this is the frequency table. America, there are 253 Americans, forming 62.3% of the total number of people there. Valid percentage. Now, because there are missing cases, the valid percentages will be different from the percentage. Valid percentages are the percentage of the variables without the missing, but the percentage is including the missing system. A lot of things, there's no time, I will have discussed a lot on these missing values and how it helps. That's one of the facilities that even makes SPSS good, because if you are running on some software packages or some spreadsheet, the missing value, there are some missing values analysis that you need to do. So SPSS will isolate the missing value for you. So there are a lot of this missing value we cannot discuss now. Then I've chosen to have a frequency, a bar chart. This is a bar chart of this same distribution. It cannot put the missing there, American, European. This bar chart is the default bar chart. I can modify this bar chart, change the color, make it three-dimensional, change the background. If I work on this bar chart now, maybe for 2-3 minutes, you will not know that it's from SPSS. Well, SPSS has a lot of facilities on editing, even the tables. This is the default table. I can change this table to academic, advanced, many other tables. There are almost 60-something types of tables that you can make from SPSS, but it's just the default table. If there was time, maybe another time, we'll see how to edit some of these things. Next slide. So this is the output now. So you can copy and paste the output, or you can import it into Word, into your report, and continue to work on it. Next slide. And so on and so forth. Then this is the frequency you can do. So this is, I want to do descriptive statistics. Here, if I open the descriptive, I want to have the mean, standard deviation, minimum, maximum on these 4 variables. But the descriptive for me, the mean, standard deviation, you have to do for only continuous variable, not the categorical type. So miles per gallon, engine displacement, horsepower, and I want to have these 4 variables. I want to have their mean, standard deviation, minimum, and maximum. Then I will select 4 of them here, then open the descriptive option. I can also select variance, cortices, skewness if I want. Then I'll continue, I will OK. Next slide, when you OK it, it will show you. Next. So this is the CARS data also. So this is the number of cases, this one, the minimum, the maximum, the mean, and this is standard deviation. These are exactly the variables I have, the description I have selected to be included for each of these 4 variables. These are the 4 variables. Also, I can change the table. I can include the skewness, I can include the variance. If I include the variance, you see it will extend here to variance, skewness, cortices, depending on the demand. You know, SPSS, the analysis is omnibus. You put a lot of analysis together that you can select from. Next one. So this is the descriptives. Next is then correlation analysis. You know, correlation is the measure of degree and direction of linear relationship between 2 variables. I want to correlate between engine displacement and vehicle weight. Of course, the distance covered by, maybe it has some linear relationship with the weight of the vehicle. Yes. So the engine displacement, vehicle weight, these are the 2 involved. You have to have at least 2 variables. I'm selecting 2 variables now. But if I put more than 2, what SPSS will do, it will do pairwise correlations for me. If suppose I add miles per gallon here, it will do correlation between engine displacement and vehicle weight, engine displacement and miles per gallon, vehicle weight and miles per gallon in a matrix form. Many of us know that when you say, and the default is the Pearson's correlation, but you can select the Kendall's correlation, Spearman correlation in this checkbox here, and it will add. So I will now put them here, and then I'm choosing that I want the sum of square and the cross products. Yeah. So this is the also descriptive statistics. This is the mean of engine per gallon standard deviation. This is just the descriptive. The correlation here it comes in form of matrix. I have only two variables. In matrix form, it will put like xy by row, xy by column. So this is why you see this always this one is one because it's engine displacement by engine displacement. The correlation is one because it's the same variable correlating itself. Then the actual correlation I'm interested in is engine displacement by vehicle weight. This is 0.933. So the same thing with matrix form. This matrix form has advantage when you want to do further analysis, like the canonical correlation, you want to do it manually. I've also chosen to sum of squares and covariances. The covariance between engine displacement and engine displacement is its own variance. But engine displacement and vehicle weight, this is the covariance. Sum of square and cross products is the summation x minus x bar squared. That's the sum of square. It becomes cross product when you have it between one variable and the other. Between one variable is summation x minus mu x squared. But if it is between engine displacement and vehicle weight, it's x minus mu x into y minus mu y. So they have some usefulness also. So at times, when you want to do some other analysis, not the correlation itself, you need these cross products and sum of square that you want to do some maybe manual analysis. Okay. So, and so on and so forth. You have correlation. Next slide, you have regression analysis. Regression also like correlation, but this one has clear dependent and independent variable, where you choose the dependent variable, which we normally call y, and independent. There are a lot on this regression also. What I just put here is a simple linear regression. If you go there, because of time, but with this little background, if you go to, there are some other things like the t-test. Even this, the presentation is more than this, it's more than 100 and something slides. But if you share it, maybe with this is the regression, you want to dependent variable the engine displacement. So I want to build a model that can predict the engine displacement based on the knowledge of the vehicle weight. So my dependent variable is the engine displacement independent. Then this is a simple correlation analysis. If it's multiple, I can put more than one independent.
Thank you, sir.
Variables here, and that's where we have some. You can talk all the one. This is just simple, and the output is there. Thank you, and sorry for the break transmission.
Thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate. Even with the network fluctuation, we still enjoyed the presentation. So we are so sorry, participants, for the each. We also have done a question and answer now, but we'll just take that for just 10 minutes. Then we'll wrap everything up. So, Mr. Eje, please, the question section.
All right, thank you very much, madam. Good morning, everybody. I really appreciate you for staying online with us. And thank you for our participants who have just sent in their question right now. And the question is actually for the first guest speaker, which is a person of Dr. Wumi Olaiwola. Sir, are you online? Please, can you come online so I can probably read the question up to you, sir?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much for coming up, Doctor. The question goes forth to say, it says, the network providers such as MTN and the likes, the online teaching softwares and inventors like Zoom, Google Meeting, and so on tends to benefit. Again, are there other economic and social benefits of COVID-19 to the government? Hello, doctor, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. I just read the question now. All right, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
The organizer, I hope I can answer now.
Yes, you can go ahead. We are all listening to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Concerning the question concerning the first service provider, you see, we should not forget that all those service providers, they are private sector operator, and their basic objective is to make money. And you can be able to see, for analysis, all those service providers, especially in the tertiary level of economy, service sector, they really made money during the COVID-19, because if you cannot meet physically, we have to meet electronically, and they are making money. So it's an opportunity for them to make money, but it's the opportunity to the people. This is where government needs to come in. If government want to make it to be an opportunity to people with COVID-19, that means government must guarantee accessibility. The only to guarantee accessibility is that if they are providing that service as a reduced cost, and because if it is reduced cost, everybody will be able to access it. That's number one. Number two is the spread of the services. And all these services, MTN and so on, if they can spread to the rural area, even with people with less education, so that everybody will have access to it, then there is going to be an opportunity with COVID-19. And we should not forget that that's what I want to link it to the second one that you say about the social benefit again of COVID-19. We know that we now have e-medicine, telemedicine, you understand, e-doctor, many things in which they can diagnose you online, prescribe drug for you online. You understand?
That is true.
But all those are benefits because of this COVID-19. But everything depends on the relevant stakeholders so that people can have access to all these facilities. If those facilities are there and concentrated only in only one particular segment of the economy, it can never be a universal opportunity. So that is the reason why with this COVID-19, it's a wake-up call. The government to know that all these amenities, ICT, and so on and so forth, they are not luxury. They are necessity that need to be provided for all the population. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for this elaborate explanation on the question. Mr. Ogunsola, I hope you are pleased and satisfied with the response. If we have more participants who want to ask us questions, you can quickly type it in the chat section. We will be waiting to read your question. Pending that, while we're expecting one or two questions, in order not to keep us just idle, I will call on our organizer and our president, the president of the RSS Nigerian local group, to please come up and then start giving us a vote of thanks, appreciating everyone who has joined this very good meeting, so we can begin to wrap up the meeting. Thank you very much. Doctor, you're welcome, sir. Dr. Laiola.
So, Mrs. Wayne, next to you.
Please
allow me. I'm not sure she's with us.
Ms. Ola, are you with us?
For the vote of thanks. Hello? Yes, yeah.
I will take one.
Sorry. Okay, sorry, my microphone was me.
Hello, women, are you with us? Hello? Hello, Mr. Lau, are you with us?
Okay. Dr. Oyamaki, I have a question. Just 1 minute. We are listening, Dr. Oyamaki.
Thank you. My question is very straightforward, and the question is to Professor Laiola. Sir, when you showed us the charts, or like the diagram on limited opportunities, the challenge one, the question I have is, how do we change the narrative? Because if we have 112 million people ultra poor, okay, and we have the distribution leaving only 12 million millionaires. What do you think are the possible interventions that we can be looking at to change the narrative? Because this is a bit worrisome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Oyamakin. We'll let Dr. Wumi Olayiwola to come up now and answer the question.
Okay, thank you very much. So the only thing I know, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need to ask how it's still being done. Definitely, when you have a situation like this, then the first question that will come to mind, first of all, one is to create a lot of economic activities and economic opportunities for the ultra poor. What are those economic opportunities? Jobs. If you create jobs, when the economy is down, there's something we call counter-cyclical processes. When the economy is down, government really need to prepare the economy by injecting more funds to the economy. How are they going to do that? Maybe through construction, through infrastructure building, through many things. In which those ones can be able to put money into people's pockets, and they can be able to have access to that economic opportunity. That is number one. Number two is what we call redistribution. Redistribution in the sense that government can tax the rich in order to finance the poor. In the sense that they will take some money from the rich and find a way how to now give it to the poor. Then it now becomes the issue of mechanism. That's why there's a need for you to have social safety nets. You have to have a lot of intervention programs, free education, free health services, and so on and so forth. That one will now be able to let people have access to those basic necessities. And from that, they can be able to take a lot of people from the poverty. But unfortunately, the kind of system we have is such a way that the rich is getting richer and the poor is getting poorer. And that is what the reason why you have this kind of social challenges. And another thing that is very, very important again is that that's where just statistics is very, very important. If you don't create some kind of network in which different levels of government can work together, it becomes very difficult. As you know that in Nigeria now, we have the federal government, you have the state government, you have the local government. All of them, they embark on some kind of activities that affect the people. Unfortunately, if all of them are working at cross purposes, and you can be able to see what happened with respect to palliatives. So palliatives are provided by the state government, some are provided by the federal government, some by other level, or even the private sector. But are they done in a coordinated way? And you can be able to see that result because they don't even have correct statistics and information for planning. And that's why Royal Statistical Society really come to play. Except we have a good database for planning. To be able to target is very, very, very difficult. So those are those kind of things that we can be able to do in order to change the narratives. Except there's a concerted effort from the part of government to take people out of poverty line. It will be very, very difficult. When we have this kind of pandemic next time, I hope that the impact will not be worse than this. Thank you very much.
So,
Thank you,
thank
sir.
you very much, Doctor.
So,
Yes, please. Yeah, if anybody has more questions, we'll probably entertain one more question before we leave. One more question before we leave. I don't think we'll have anyone coming up with any questions again. So in the absence of that, I think we will go back to Mrs. Wumi. Is she ready for us? Let's take the vote of thanks. All right, let's take the vote of thanks.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay.
Let's hold on. Let's read. I think someone is saying he has a question for Dr. Aliu. Okay, please let this person come up. Dr. Yemakin, it's you again. Please come up with the question. Please, let's be fast about it.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to type so that I won't have to talk again. But let me just say it once and for all. To Dr. To Dr. Aliyu.
To Dr. Aliyu, yes.
You said?
Continue.
Your question is to Dr. Aliyu. Continue, sir. Yes. Yeah, he made mention of this issue of SP, the advantages of SPSS, across some of the available statistical software that we have now. But my question is, he should also be able to share with us some of the major disadvantages of this package, so that, especially those of us, I believe 80% of the participants here are with either a degree or two in statistics. And at one point in time, we must have come across this SPSS and some of the major limitations that have reduced our patronages, to this software. So I would like him to share with us some of the major disadvantages of SPS, especially to statistical research. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can I go ahead, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Some of the major disadvantages of the SPSS is that there are some analyses that the SPSS limited to the SPSS. When I was explaining the add-ons, I made mention of the EMOS, advanced model structure, add-on to structural modeling and other things on the SPSS. The ability of the SPSS to do structural equation modeling is very limited, though they are trying to improve on it. Until now, version say 22, the SPSS doesn't have canonical correlation analysis on it. Yeah. And initially, the design of the SPSS was meant for the social science, so that was over 20-something years. Now, there are some facilities that like analysis like medical research, which I have a lot of time in medical research and some categorical data analysis. Also, they are not in the SPS, especially the medical biostatistics. It also has limitations in terms of connectivity to other software. It can connect to Excel data, and I'm not sure its connectivity with Python. So these are some of the limitations. But however, these limitations, the SPSS, when IBM bought over the SPSS, they are trying to overcome all these shortcomings. And there could be every version now, from version 20 down to now to 7. There are significant improvements in additional facilities for analysis and for data. In terms of mostly in terms of the analysis of data. Combinance among the structural equation modeling. But they are trying to add little by little. The structural equation modeling, sometimes you have to do diagrams, arrows, and others. Even before, if you do, you don't have the ability to do. But in this version 25, you can input, there's the canvas that you can draw the structure. And then also the mediation and motivation analysis also. You can draw and then point the arrows there. These are some of the limitations. These are some of the limitations.
Thank you very much, Dr. Aliyu. We appreciate that response. Dr. Oyemaki, I hope you're satisfied with the response. It's actually Oyamaki. Oyamaki. Oh, thank you very much for the correction. I appreciate that. All right, so we go over to you, Madam. Can we call up on Mrs. Fumina to come up? We won't be able to take any more questions for now. So we'll just wrap up this section. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Samuel AJ, and well done to Mrs. Orojo too. Thank you so much. So thank you, everyone. And on behalf of the Royal Statistical Society local group, I would like to appreciate everyone that took out their time to participate. As you can see, we have quite a number of people that joined, which is quite encouraging for us for our next webinar presentation. It's quite encouraging. So thank you very much, everyone. Most especially our speakers, Dr. Wumi Olayiwola, Dr. Usman Aliyu. We want to say thank you so very much. Thank you for the impact. Thank you for the knowledge. And again, the organizer, Dr. Olayiwola Lani, thank you for organizing this event. And as the team states, economic implication on COVID-19 in Ecowas region, opportunities and challenges. I do hope we all learned one or two things from the speakers and from the presentation. So we want to encourage every one of you for our next webinar presentation or physical presentation. We want to encourage everyone. Your participants, your participation matters a lot. It encourages us to move forward, to push forward, to promote statistics. So we would like to encourage every one of you. If we have, whenever we have any webinar presentation or physical conference, we would want to encourage every one of us to always participate. So once again, I say we do hope to see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, madam. So just the last, but not the least, the closing remark by the RSS chair. Dr. Olayiwola, you're welcome.
Thank you, everyone. And thanks for your time at the beginning of this webinar. We also appreciate our speakers, Dr. Wumi Olayiwola and Dr. Aliyu, for a beautiful presentations. Well, before we call this day, I think
I think his mic is muted.
Yes, I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, please. Your mic was muted.
Yeah, thank you. So the both presentations really emphasize on reliable database before we can have adequate planning. So thank God that in our midst we have people from Bureau of Statistics, MBS, another Bureau of Statistics, and we have, in our midst also we have NSA, which is also a member. That's a Nigerian Statistical Association. The MBS is in charge of school system in Nigeria. The NSA is well recognized by the federal government because the NSA president, I'm sure, is one of the board members of the NBS. How are we going to collaborate with the federal government to create or to have a reliable database? It's not just a database, but a reliable database. So the NSA, you know, at this, I'm using this opportunity to learn the NBS and see how we can collaborate, and the NSA will carry other activities along in Nigeria. That will have a reliable database for their country for proper planning and defense of their country. So I visit everybody for the webinar. So thank you and God bless you all.
Thank you so much, sir. So thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate all the participants.
Thank you very much.
We love you all.
Bye.
This time.
Thank you very much. And well done,
Thank
Mr. Roger.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well done, Mr. Roger. Thank
Our
you.
technical man, Dr.
Well done,
Ahmad,
Samuel.
to say thank you. Mr. Ejem, Mrs. Wumi, thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
everybody.
And our
Thank
presenter,
you, everybody.
You're welcome.
and Dr.
Thank you.
Ali.
You're all welcome.
Really appreciate.
Thank you.
All right, bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Dr. Ali, God bless you. Dr. Olayiwola, God bless you.